See what Joe Girardi accomplished for the Philadelphia Phillies. They had a winning season in year two. The truncated season, 2020, there were 4 games under 500 to get off to a hot start. But it was just so odd, Dan, the former Philadelphia Philly here on this desk. He was plagued by the same issue all 2+ seasons, and it was bullpen struggling. And he had this hard, fast rule that he wasn't going to use a reliever 3 days in a row. And I'm wondering if that was one of the reasons why his time in Philadelphia came to an end.
Listen, I don't know what Rob Thompson's going to do, but I can tell you this. I've been for a couple of seasons a guest instructor with the Phillies, and he runs a marvelous camp. He knows where everybody's supposed to be at every field at every time. What are the differences? We're going to find out what those are. We're going to find out probably in the next week to 10 days. If they're going to play the hot hand, if there's a guy in the bullpen, if it's Knebel, and his pitch count is down and he's pitched 2 days in a row, and he's thrown 10, 12 pitches, as brilliant as he was 2 nights ago when he saved the game. I think when you're trying to get back above 500 and get to 500, you're going to have to start to stretch some guys. You're going to have to lean, and somebody's going to have to dig deep and dig down. And somebody in that bullpen is going to have to take the bull by the horns in the 7th or the 8th inning and be that go-to guy. And you kind of know who that guy is. Like I always tell people, if you want to know a lot about your favorite team, sit in the dugout, sit in the bullpen for a couple of days, and you'll know who the real dudes are, and you know who the guys that when it really gets to crunch time, when that phone rings and a guy gets up and he's ready to get after it, you know who those guys are. And they're going to have to find some guys in that bullpen. Somebody that's going to say, okay, I'm the guy. That phone's going to ring, and I'm going to put an end to this, whether it's the 7th inning, the 8th inning. Rob Thompson has to find 2 guys, one for the 9th and a troubleshooter to get to the 9th that he can feel he can rely on and give the ball to.
You know what make good pitching? Good defense. And the Philadelphia Phillies have a bad defense. And that's why the pitching is bad. When you start to look at this team and you look at roster construction, you have to catch the baseball. And Joe Girardi was dealt a hand of a team that can't defend the baseball. When you start to look at the money in which they invested in this ball club, you look at Schwarber, you look at Castellanos, obviously you have Harper. These guys are not good defenders. So when you look at your roster and you say to yourself, okay, here are some of the areas of concern with our ball club, you have to, that's why your coaching staff is so important. When you start to put a coaching staff together, you need to look at your roster and say, what areas am I really going to need my best coaches? So one of the things that I did today with our research team, I said, I want to take a look at the Phillies coaching staff. And when you look at this coaching staff, you have not too many guys that play the outfield. But that's where a lot of the damage is being done with guys.
Well, Kevin Long's a hitting coach, right? So he's not.
Kevin Long is too busy trying to work with the hitters. He don't have time to actually coach the outfielders.
Right.
So when you look at a ball club that invested this amount of money into the outfield, and now you have Harper, who's probably the best outfielder, but because of his injury situation, he's now relegated to the DH spot. So now you're forced to put these guys onto the field, and at the end of the day, they're just not good defenders.
No.
They're not good defenders. Now, if you had an outfield coach, can you make them better defenders? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can make them better defenders.
Wow.
We had this discussion, you and I, about 10 days ago. And the dilemma that the Phillies are in right now is you have to have Castellanos playing right field, Schwarber playing left field. To me, the issue is they need a top-flight center fielder. If you're going to be weak on the corners, like average to below average defenders on the corners, you're going to need somebody in center field that can cover some ground. A guy that can cover the left and the right center field gap. And as we saw in a few of those balls that are in the left center, right center, there's no sense of somebody taking charge out there and like, okay, that's my ball.
Right.
Like balls are like, okay, I got it, you take it. Kind of guys running into each other and like, okay. And
well, Mickey Moniak was going to be the starting center fielder. He got hit by a pitch the last day of regular season or of spring training, and he just came back. He was in the lineup tonight. So he's in center field now. They like him defensively, but that was one of the many unlucky bounces that Joe Girardi had in his time. So Joe Girardi is out. Very good point, though, guys. Really good point. Their defense and the offense bad. So if we're looking ahead and say Rob Thompson is not the long-term answer as the manager, who would be the long-term answer for the Philadelphia Phillies?